Hey, 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 welcome to the show. Welcome back, everyone. I am so glad to see you. How are you? We are
I'm
not
good.
live, family. Yeah, we are not live. That's okay because we had to do some rearranging, but it's all good. I'm glad to see you, Devette. You just gave me a little something that gave me some energy. So yeah,
Yes.
I'm excited.
Listen,
This is the Beyond Belief series, everyone, where we have been taking a soulful look at these Bible scriptures and viewing them through an esoteric lens. And Devette is my amazing co host. She is a Christian mystic, an intuitive channeler, and a bridge walker between the realms. She has been channeling between the worlds since she was 7 years old, and she brings a fresh new perspective about the Bible because she's really showing us how the Bible is all about you. And it's your roadmap to your own existence and your own
mhm,
power. So I'm
mhm.
just so glad to have you alongside co-hosting this series with me. And you can follow Devette on her YouTube channel at the Southern Mystic Girl. We'll put that in the show notes
Yes.
for you. This week, we are going to be diving into Reverend Ike's secrets for health, joy, and prosperity for you. We're using his Science of Living study guide. I love Reverend Ike, and I don't know.
Me,
Did you introduce me to Reverend Ike? All of these people. Yeah, I love Reverend Ike. Oh my goodness. Me and Shannon used to listen to Reverend Ike so much. I love him. He makes it really simple.
he
How you
makes it
doing,
so
sister?
simple.
You up in how you doing? Where are you? Where are you in this world?
I'm in the mountains. I came to the mountains. I needed a break and I got one. And listen, it's nothing like going to the mountains because remember the mountains, everything that's external is internal. And so the mountains really represents a higher consciousness. It's our outer external vision of higher consciousness. And when you want to
Mhm.
really go into yourself, go to a mountain. Caverns, the holes in the mountains, that's nothing but going into the internal depths of your soul. So yeah, I love the mountains. I'm up here, girl, and I'm
I
channeling,
love
and
the
I got
mountains as well.
your ancestors here. So I'm cooking. I'm locked and loaded today. I got my
Oh
Diana
my
hair.
gosh, yes, you do, and it looks so good. It looks really, really good. Looks good on you.
Thank you. So I
Yeah,
am
my
ready,
my ancestors are up there.
girl.
Good, 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 good.
Your
Which
ancestors are here.
ancestors are up there?
Well, it's your grandfather,
Which
and
ones?
her grandfather is really electrifying. So that's why you
Mm.
probably hear me speaking faster and more aggressive today. The audience that are our returning champions that know how I speak, this sounds a little different. Well, it's her grandfather, and he's very energetic, and he's a firecracker. I just love it.
Yeah, everybody that. Oh
But
my gosh,
his
that's so funny
wife
because
is here
everybody that
too,
knows
so she gives balance.
my sweet granny. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's true. That is very true. My granny was very soft spoken and very quiet. She is that Native American, quiet, solid spirit carrying all of that indigenous energy. And my papa is that African Congo spirit. He was always very energetic. He's a little guy, but he used to jump this high off the ground in church and so climb trees and everything. And my mother carries that spirit on. So yes,
Oh my
the first
goodness.
time you channeled him and you were like all this energy. And I was just asking you, why are you yelling?
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
You were just,
Oh,
woo,
he's doing it
woo, woo. You
now.
were just,
He's
and you
doing
were
it
like,
right now. He's doing this little woo. He does that.
yes, he
He's
does. That's what he did in
electrifying.
church. Well, you know what, everyone, if you are new to this show, welcome so much. We welcome you to the show and welcome you to all of this energy that we have to
Yes.
give you, but more importantly, to the message that we are bringing you today. And if you are a returning champion, thank you so much. We thank you for tuning in and following us in this series. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share this channel with someone that you love. So what we getting into today? We
So
talking about Reverend Ike's his first chapter, chapter 1. You are what you feed your mind,
yes.
and you always talk about this to me, so I'm going to defer to you.
Deb. So first of all, Deb has the newest rendition. This is the old rendition. So my book is falling apart here.
Girl, that's like an old Bible. You know how people keep their Bibles and
It ain't even holding together any longer. I put this book into good use. But I want to draw
Yes.
attention to that because on page 11, he talks about that. He talks about, listen, don't let this book be a one-time read. It's a over and over and over
Mm,
and over again read, which I'm so glad he
that's
says that.
exactly
And
what
then
he
he
does
makes his
say.
first chapter, the chapter that we are really about to go into. The other day when I woke up, my divine voice said to me, you are what you think. And I'm like, okay, I know that, but no, he said, no, you don't understand. The thought is you. You're like, oh, yeah, I didn't quite get that. You are the walking
Mm,
thought. And what you
mm,
think then comes out externally. So your thoughts are so powerful. And that's what this chapter is about. I love how he takes you to Matthew's 4:4, and it says, "Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God." This is such an esoteric verse where it really is talking about a level of consciousness that you have to get to understand that bread is not what you're consuming, but bread are the thoughts that you are consuming, you know? And
mm.
so man won't,
Thoughts you're feeding yourself.
what are you feeding yourself? What are you feeding yourself? Because it's not the
Mm,
literal bread that you're feeding yourself. So man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceedeth. And the word is the actual living word of God that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. And you are God. So we keep looking at it as somebody externally doing this proceeding. It's you. You're the God. You're God. And so your thoughts, yeah, your thoughts is the most important thing. What you feed your mind is what you're going to eat externally. And I love that.
that's really good. I want to, yeah. So I got to try to interject here
Come on.
because this scripture was taught to me as not living by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. So it was really I was taught that it was the scriptures. So again, that's outside of yourself. And I'm not saying that the scriptures are wrong or that that's wrong. It's just that in my conception of that was talking about the Bible. So you have to read the Bible, and that is what your bread is. I never thought about it as the things that I'm thinking
It's
as
what
the
you're
bread
consuming.
and what I'm putting into my thoughts, what I'm consuming, what I'm thinking about, what I'm watching,
hmm
what kind of diet am I on?
What kind of diet are you on?
And not what type of like thinking diet or consciousness diet or
Mm.
is that what
Yeah, this is all about
is that
consciousness.
what
It's about thinking. It's your thinking diet. It is what you are consuming on a day to day basis in your material world. And when you allow that to go unchecked, your ego doesn't want to be checked anyway. But when you allow that to go unchecked and you just allow these things to be filtered through you, you are just a garbage can for a lot of the negative thoughts of the world that then becomes your identity. I'm a girl. So what does that mean? Does it mean you're weaker than anybody? Well, I'm a black girl. Well, what does that mean? Because there's a box. And so these words, when you start to label yourself as what these things and concepts are, then you show up as that thought. How many times have you walked
mm,
into a building and said, I'm the only black person, and have that
mm,
thought of loneliness, of being by yourself.
yes.
So that comes from
Instead of walking in there saying, "I'm sorry,"
no, I'm sorry.
instead of walking into the building and saying, "Wow, like I am the one here. I'm the only one, so that it's time for me to shine. I feel like the spotlight is on me." Instead of, kind of like making that a limitation,
Yeah. Coming
we
in
should
with
be
all
making
those
like, "Wow,
preconceived.
the spotlight is on me." And that is, yeah, that's more powerful than thinking that I should hide and that I am alone and
hmm
that I am maybe going to be rejected. And you start to think about, all of the other,
Limiting beliefs.
things that you've been told. Yeah,
Right.
the beliefs that you've been told about being the only black person or, maybe that you're not going to be taken care of or something like that. So that's really good. I like that analogy. I did like that example that you
Yeah.
gave.
You're walking in as the thought of yourself. You are walking
Mm,
in. I am the walking, talking book of Da'Vette. know? And so what I feel about Da'Vette shows up. What I feed my mind about Da'Vette shows up. So it's really important to purge the mind. And I love that word. Thank you. Talking to your granddaddy. Purge the mind of those negative thoughts. How do you do that? One of the ways is visualization. One of the ways is continuing to read those things that gives your esteem a boost. Those things that tell you the truth of who you are. Those books that tell you you are part of the one, that there's no degree of separation, that God is here for you because God is here for all of us, that we share that love of God. You know, Paul says it like this in the Bible. He says, think on those things that are good. Think on those things that are pure. Think on those things that are true. Well, that is the roadmap to what you think, or what, let's say Proverbs 23 and 7, where it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Well, that's what Paul is telling you. This is what you think in your heart about yourself. And when you think this of yourself, this is what happens for you in your external world. When you can think on those things are good, now that starts just a loop. I'm thinking constantly those things that are good about myself, those things that are positive about myself, those integrating those things that are negative and seeing the strength in my negative. So here we are turning it around. And that's what that first chapter is about. Love, he has a story in there, Deb, and the story talks about a man, and he's a hot dog.
Hot vendor. Yeah.
And that hot dog vendor had
Hot
it
dog
going
vendor.
on
You
until
want to
his
share
very
with the
smart
audience
son.
about the hot dog vendor?
Yeah, yeah. So his very smart son tells him that there's a recession looming on the rise. Now, this man had not even thought about a recession or a depression. His hot dogs were going over great. Everybody was buying them. But when he adopted the thought of his son, the negative thought of his son, he stopped showing up for himself. He stopped
This is important.
showing up for himself. Go ahead, babe.
Well, no, this is important because a lot of people out there, and I know that I have even thought about, I have talked myself out of some things that I wanted to do because I listened to some negative thinking from someone else, or I listened to the thoughts and the beliefs of someone else. And so that then changed the entire trajectory of what it is that I believed that I could do. That was previously, that is not now.
Right.
But this is very important because people, you need to, family out there that's listening, you need to understand that you are going to become the thoughts of someone else, or you will actually project that if you listen to what someone else is believing. We become someone else's belief system. And that's something that I want to definitely point out, because I think that has happened over time. I mean, if you think about, I have to refer back to church and the Bible and the way that the Bible was taught. It was someone else's belief system, and that then became mine. And I find out that it's not that way. From my spiritual awakening, it is not that, it doesn't translate into how I was taught. So this is a really important. It's really important.
It was given to us in such a judgmental way that we are so judgmental to ourselves. It was given us in such a way of non-compassion, not having compassion at all. And that's what we don't have for ourselves. It was just really the way that the word was given, the way that the Bible was given, not the word, but the way that the Bible was constructed and given was a nail in the coffin to a low self-esteem, for low self-esteem to occur, because it was inflated or conflated with all of these prejudice, the way to control people. That's not what the word is about. It's not about controlling anyone. It's about controlling yourself. It's about your own soul's journey. It's not about telling someone else to give 10% of anything. If they want to give 10% of anything, yay. But it's not about that. It's about the whole, the 10 becoming one with the 90, and you becoming one with all that is. It is what you think. It is what you think about yourself. And if you have any limiting beliefs, I'm telling you, look at your external life and you can see exactly where to start. I had a friend to call me.
Yes.
And it was early in the morning, and I'm just going to go there. And I may cry on this, but his limiting
It's
belief
okay.
of himself, I heard at 3:45,
Mhm.
what? You are not, you don't deserve to have anything like this happen to you. This isn't who you are.
Yes.
Who you are isn't a person that deserves to be mistreated in any way. And I don't care if it's me who's doing the mistreatment. Look at me and
Yes.
see where you have to work on, or what you have to work on for yourself. That's what those negative thoughts are really trying to show you. Not you got to go changing everybody else to feel good about yourself. Change your damn self,
Mhm.
you know?
Change yourself. Yeah.
Change
Yeah.
yourself. And my friend, I hated that. But nothing happens until whoever it is get the correct view of themselves. I like the way Reverend Ike says it. He says it as the right view of yourself. When you
Yes. The
can
correct
see
view.
yourself
Yes.
as God sees you. That is what the right view is. When you don't see yourself as an imposition to yourself, when you see yourself truly as the reward for yourself, when you see yourself as, uh, help me out, when you see yourself as the God source and that God can speak through you, then you begin to change exactly how you show up in anyone's scene. You don't show up as a victim.
Yes, because absolutely, because seeing yourself as God,
Mhm.
seeing the God in you, and I try to tell people, if you look in the mirror and don't see God, then you need to look again. And that's what I've learned. I want to go back to the hot dog story
Mhm.
because it leads me to a question of, was there really a recession, or was that the belief of someone else? You see, it may not have even really been a recession. It was someone else's belief that there was a recession. That's really important, guys. It is.
It was his
That's
son's
really
belief
important because
about
I'm
the
like,
recession.
was his yes, exactly. It was his son's belief, and he could have just went right on, but because he adopted the belief of his son,
Right.
so he created a recession in his mind and then shut down everything, shut down the hot dog stand, shut down the vendor stand, packed up all of his stuff and went away.
And
And
went away
so
broke.
when he was
He went
went
away
away
broke.
broke,
Should we
broken.
should we say broken? Went away broken.
Yes, yes.
So let me ask you this. What if it was a recession going on? What's the difference? What if there was a recession going on?
Right, because there is I mean, and also, I mean, recessions happen. It doesn't matter. If you keep yourself elevated, it's just like what's going on in the world now. You could be in the world, but not of the world. That's not a recession in your mind.
Right.
So there's no recession in your mind. You still are believing that your hot dogs are the greatest thing and they're going to sell. People still going to eat hot dogs through a recession.
Right.
So,
It's one of the
mm,
cheapest things to buy. So right. So
yes,
absolutely. When he started to believe it, when he heard it and accepted it as truth, he then accepted
yes.
all of the consequences that came along with that truth, which were to confirm there was a recession. Because whatever
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
believe, it has to show up and confirm your belief. You think
That's
you know,
right.
you believe that you can make it, well, you damn skippy, you gonna make it. You believe that
Hmm.
what you have purpose for your life is what you're going to go after with passion, nothing is going to stop you. I
Hmm.
don't care if it is a depression or recession. None of those things stop you. Millionaires are made every day, whether there's a depression or recession, because millionaires aren't made just because of a market. Millionaires are made because of the market. And that's your mind, how you think and feel about yourself in every area.
Mhm, mhm,
So,
mhm. I like that.
yeah.
I really do. Yeah.
Beware, beware. I love also what he says. Beware of the junk food. Beware of the junk food. Don't
Yeah.
consume these negative thoughts.
So you know what that brings me to? Beware of the junk food. This one is really important because, to the audience, you have to think about the news.
Mm.
This is something that's very important. The news that you watch is a bunch of junk food. Now, there are pros and cons to listening to the news. I listen to the news to be informed, not to be afraid,
Mm.
to then Yeah, not to be controlled. And so you have to think about that. This is the number one junk food, I think. Social media can be, but I see a lot of positive things on social media now. I really do. And I like the way, at least coming down my feed. So maybe it's the energy that I draw and attract to me, but I
Right.
see a lot of positive things. But the news can be very scary. I can remember when 9/11 happened and I did not cut the news off. I slept with it.
Me too.
I was so afraid and I wanted to know what was going to happen next. I just had so much fear for the world and I did not know what was going to take place. Are we going to be bombed? Is the world going to end?
Yeah.
And I think I slept with that news on day in and day out for months. But then I also suffered from what you would call situational depression.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Half of the
Yeah.
globe suffered from situational depression during 9/11 that happened here in the States. But there are people in other countries that were afraid to fly, who who had to go to therapists. So it didn't matter whether you were here in the States or not. It's whether you believe it and consume it just like you consume a Snickers. It has the news does have some value, but you do have to put it in perspective. A lot of it is
Yes.
non-nutritional value. And I'm going to say this.
Yes.
I try to watch the news early up in the afternoon, like the 30 news, because I don't let 11 o'clock news be the last thing that my subconscious receives. Because I don't want that twirling in my subconscious when I'm sleeping, and then tomorrow it shows up and tomorrow doesn't mean the next day, but it shows up in my experience as
Yes.
an accepted belief. And I just don't want that any longer. So I am cognizant of how much news I take in. And the other thing is how I'm watching it, what feeling I am watching that news from, because feeling is the secret. Neville says it all the
Yes.
time. Feeling is the secret. And so if you start the 6:30 news, when the commercials come on, I will mute them, because have you noticed they're always about some drug that they're selling,
Or
don't
food.
or some food, and I don't want you getting me sick. I don't have to accept your illness. I don't have to accept your subliminal messages. So I can mute you, and really what I do is I record it and then fast forward through it, because I want what I want to see, and then I disregard the rest. And that's important.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. And it's all designed that way, family. It's all designed to keep you in a loop so that you can continue to be in fear and be in control, or be controlled and not in control of yourself. So
Right.
yeah, don't go for the old okie doke. Yeah, don't let the smooth taste fool you. Okay? You are what you think. And what you're doing, Devette, is you're reading the labels.
You got to read
You're
the
reading the
label.
label of it. You gotta read the label.
And if it's some daggum stuff that I don't know about, why am I accepting it as truth? That's not who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
coming in like
Yeah.
that. And that comes from going deeper, family. That comes from getting to know who you are, family, in crisis and when you're
Yes.
not in crisis.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
you having serious conversations. And for the 30 minutes that sometimes we waste on news, when do we waste it on ourselves? When do we come back into
Yes.
ourselves? I asked my friend at 3:45 that morning, name the 3 most important people in your life. And he did. And I said, so you're not on that list, are you?
That is, listen,
And if you're not on the
that
list,
is yes,
if you're not
you
on
have
your
to be
own
number
list,
one on the list. I love that. I asked that question too. We were in some type of group and you have to be, no, actually I did it on my podcast whenever I first started the Fear to Freedom Project. And I think I was doing that 30-day challenge and I was asking the audience, like, who are your top 5 people that you love the most?
Mhm.
And you gotta be number one. You have to be number one on the list.
And most people will have
Yeah,
a
so
top 5, and they will be nowhere on the list. I didn't even ask for 5. I asked for
nowhere.
3. You could have given me the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. That's all you. It shouldn't even give me
Yes,
that.
yeah.
You gave me a list of people that you have things to do for. And if you don't have anything to do for yourself, then guess what? The world is doing it for you.
Yes. Yes.
My
Gotta have some.
divine voice said to me the other day, stop dating your insecurities today. I'm like, what? Why are you talking to me like that?
That's some deep stuff.
So why you say that?
Man.
And then he took me through all my relationships and showed me my insecurity in every one of them. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to start right there. So where do I start? I set insecurity down and I asked, hey, what are you here to teach me? I asked insecurity, what is it that you need to show me about me in that person? Through that person's behavior, what do I need to learn about me? Stop dating your insecurities, Da'Vette.
Yeah, everybody out there got it together. We only talking to ourselves. This is not, we are giving you entertainment here, but we are really talking to ourselves because we don't have it together. So we know y'all do.
You know, I come together.
We don't.
That dating insecurities, that was for me.
Yes, that's for me too. Whenever it's for you, it's for me. And you come telling me that, I'm like, ooh, man, I felt that one.
Felt
I really
it.
did.
I really did. So I don't know where we are,
I have a question.
but where are we going next?
Well, you know me, I got to ask all of these questions. I have questions for days. I'm getting ready to go on a retreat and I got questions. Lord, I've been writing them down. I've been talking to my ancestors before I even get there. But what is meant by sanctify your mind from negative thoughts? Sanctify your mind from negative thoughts. And then how would one do that?
That's a good question. So sanctify your mind for me, esoterically, means to focus your energy on that you desire that is good. So sanctify your mind is, for me, esoterically, is to take those negative thoughts, look at them, and then purge them. I love that your grandfather gave me that word. Purge them. But if we can focus that energy in, focus that God, like love energy, all of those things really leave with greater ease. You begin to notice more of the God presence in you. So that's, to me,
Yes.
consecrating your mind by focusing your energy on that you want to see and not that you don't want to see. It's a consecration of energy, just focusing. I think that, I don't know I do know what the church means by it, but I don't want to give that meaning because consecration or, that kind of, it's so religious. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because when you hear sanctify your mind, I've heard that from the pulpit. So that means, stay in the word and get sanctified and consecrated and all of that stuff. And, that's just, I'm not trying to be funny, but that's what rings in my head. And so that's why I wanted to ask you, like, how would one do that if you look at this from an esoteric lens? So thank you for that. Thank you for
and then your grandfather also said meditation,
meditate.
It's meditation. That's how you begin to focus in that energy. That's what his woo is for.
Well, you know what, my
Focus in that energy.
grandfather, I felt, yes, and I was meditating one day and my grandfather showed up. And I'm gonna tell you, what you're talking about, the energy that my grandfather has. By the time my grandfather finished with me and all of the energy was over me, I was tired and I was sore. I'm not going to tell you because I can't even explain all that went on. I'm just telling you, I felt all of that energy in my body. I was doing some things and, moving around, and I could just feel his energy because in the spirit realm, it's 1,000 times what we're talking about, as it is the way that he was here on earth. And my grandfather was like, he was very energetic, he very loving, a soulful man, but he was energetic. And I knew him as an elderly person, but I didn't see that. I mean, because he could climb a tree.
Well, he is an elderly in the spirit. And I'm telling you, that man has more energy than the law allows. I wish you could see that I'm sweating here because his energy does make you, just even sitting here, I can feel his presence. And your grandmother is on this side and she's calming him down. But yeah, he just has that potent kind of energy. And what we can do, because a lot of us do, and a lot of our family that's here with us and will listen to this may have that kind of energy. It's about meditating. Now, it doesn't mean meditation the way that everybody else does it. You have to find your own formula, what works for you. And an
Yes.
hour may not work for you, but 5 minutes may do exactly what that hour did for someone else. It is about prescribing your own meditation. Be your own guru. I don't care what someone else says about you. You can do it yourself, and you
Yes.
can come up with your own meditation practices. There's plenty of information out there. You can find what works for you and do it. That's how you consecrate that energy and make that energy, focus into what you want to see happen in your life, your desires, the good that you want to see. Yeah.
Before we get into a treatment, I love that you give treatments and we can do one before we leave the show. I think it's just important for us to have this series going on. I thought it was important to do this because the way that the church has taught us and the belief system and the belief patterns and the loops that we have about ourselves. And I'm looking at this from an esoteric lens, it really gives us more power and more agency over our own life.
I like that.
It is not about, someone else controlling us. This is your life. This is your incarnation. You have chosen to be here. And so you have responsibility. It is your spiritual responsibility to believe something different,
Yes.
to believe bigger, to believe who you are, and to be the God in you, to thank the God in you, to talk to the God in you. And so, yes, I'm happy about that. And I do feel the energy of my grandfather. It feels like all through my whole body here. I can feel all that energy. So will you take us into an affirmative treatment? I
Yes.
appreciate you doing that before we go.
Yes, I will. First of all, your grandfather wants you to know that he is so super proud of you. But you knew that because he tells you that all the time. But on a personal level, this is not about what you're doing to advance the consciousness of the world, but on a personal level. So, with that said,
Yeah. I
yeah,
thank you.
am not proud like man's energy, proud as legacy energy. So, listen, you're doing the work. You have the attention of your ancestors, and your ancestors are always there. I can feel them every time I walk into your house. And you just got to keep doing what you're
If it
doing.
wasn't for them, I know they always tell me to keep going, and I hear them. And
You
if it
have
was
to.
not for my ancestors, I wouldn't be getting ready to go on this retreat. You know me. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this. I'm being called to do this. I am being called. I don't even travel by myself. And so I was talking to my mom as I took her back home today. She was like, "You going by yourself? I'm so proud of you. You're going to have fun." It's like, you're going to do this. And I'm proud of you. She's cheering me on. And
Yes,
so, yeah, my ancestors, they are always with me and they are cheering me on. They're telling me to go forward, to keep going, to keep moving. And
yes,
and I'm just so thankful for that.
yes,
I really am.
yeah. And he also wants you to know that it's okay to have a soft place to land. So whatever that
Okay.
means to you, you have to receive that.
And
So
I do.
to the audience, I want to tell you that your ancestors want to see you achieve and accomplish the best version of yourself, always pulling for us. I love that about them. The world is a
Yes.
marketplace of thoughts. Just be careful on which thoughts you choose, okay? Because there's great energy in thinking twice and speaking once. There's a more focused energy. And sometimes, and this is for someone that's going to watch this, I have no idea who I'm speaking to, but you have to slow your mind down because you're missing the bigger points. You can't see the forest for the trees. That's for whomever that's supposed to. With that being said,
I received that too.
Reverend Ike closes this chapter with a treatment. And a treatment is a good feeling, total believing energy about this particular thing you're working on. Does that make sense? So what we're working on is taking our thoughts and purifying those thoughts or, purging those negative thoughts and being very intentional about what we are allowing to enter our mind through our eye gate, ear gates. We have to be intentional about that. So I want you to say this behind me, right here and right now. I began to
Right
feed.
here and right now.
I began to feed.
I want to say it behind you.
Okay. So right here and right now,
Right here and right now,
I began to feed my mind only good thoughts.
I began to feed my mind only good thoughts.
I will let only good thoughts into my mind because I will let
I
thoughts,
will let only good thoughts into my mind because
then only good things will happen to me.
then only good things will happen to me.
I can decide what I want.
I can decide what I want.
I will decide what I want.
I will decide what I want.
I will get what I want.
I will get what I want.
Thank you, God in me.
Thank you, God in me.
That's it.
Yes.
And just confirm it with your own excitement. Do you know, I want to tell you this. Do you know why the news always leaves you with a good feeling story after they've poured all their shit into you? Let me tell you.
Yeah, that's David Muir.
Yeah.
I
Let me
love
tell you
that though.
why. Because it seals in the news. So when someone gives you something good, like a positive treatment, fill it with excitement. Then
Yes.
it gets there.
Thank you.
It locks it in. Only love can lock it in. That's why they give you those feel-good stories at the end of the news. They need to seal in the
Yes.
shit they didn't gave you.
They sealing in the bullshit.
That's
I
it, my
love that.
family. That's all I got for you.
Well, you know what? I appreciate you. And this is something that I wanted to show to the audience. This is a quote to remember. The ancestor of every thought, every action is a thought. The ancestor of every action is a thought. Remember that, family. Thank you so much for tuning in this week with us. I hope there's something that you heard in this conversation stirred up something in your soul and brought you closer to your divine oneness. Listen, we are going to be back here next week, same time, same place. And our recording has been better for us in terms of our technology. So we're probably not going to be live, but we will record and we will make sure that it is released every Sunday at 6:30 or beyond. We got to learn how to be flexible, but I love it. I love that we can just be ourselves and not, this is not scripted. Yeah, we
I
just doing
love that
this.
we love
So
us. Girl, I love us.
I do. I love us too. Thank you so much. And, I love everyone. Peace and love out there. We will see you next time. Same place, same time.